Okay, now we're at the stage where we're going to set the motor limits on the DC hardwired Intelli-Shade system. We're then going to get it integrated and working up and running on the Control 4 system via the Infinity Zigbee motor controller. So next thing, this makes it real easy. So make sure that you have a hot box. We supply this. It comes with every order, unless of course you have accumulated enough of these and you don't need any more, which could very well happen. At least we hope so. So this is just a very simple little DC switch. Also provided with it is a DC power supply. This is a single motor DC power supply that would come with a single shade as well. So it's just designed so that if you have one of our single motor power supplies, you just stab the barrel connector into the end of the little DC hot box. And what I'm going to do real quick is I'm then going to, with the Phoenix connector already connected to the motor lead, I'm just going to connect the Phoenix connector that comes with the hot box. Makes it very simple and easy to get them hooked up. Plug this into the nearby outlet that you have, the nearest outlet, power it up, and you're good to go. Now, don't pay attention to what's up, what's down. That's too complicated. We don't need to worry about that. I just know I press down, it went down. If you press down, it doesn't go down, press up. It's going to be one or the other. So I'm going to go down with it, and I'm going to see where the limit sits. I'm going to see what kind of adjustment I'm going to need to make on that limit. So we want it to run about 2 inches down past, or 2 inches past the bottom of the sill. Obviously, it's beyond that by probably 3 or 4 inches. So the easiest thing to do is to reduce the limit, make the limit short of where you want it to be, and then advance towards where you want it to go. So per our instructions, we have instructions that we provide with the shade on how to set the motor limits. They're also on the website, you can find them there. If this is a motor side right, our yellow limit is actually our lower limit. So I'm going to want to turn it counterclockwise to decrease the limit. So I'm just going to essentially go here. I'm going to go counterclockwise, probably about 5 to 10 turns. Okay, quite a few. I want to just back it up enough so that I can go forward or down. Okay, and I backed it up quite a bit. That's okay. That's fine. Now, if we want to go ahead and get it to go further, which is increasing, we want to go clockwise. Leave the switch on. Now turn it clockwise, and you'll see that it will just gradually go down. And the nice thing about doing it this way is you can just spin it, continue to have it go down, and have it stop where you want it. I'm probably going to say about there, and I'm going to stop it there. Okay, so we just did our down limit. We're set. That's good. Let's go with our upper. Let's see where this lands. I'm gathering it's probably going to be long on the upper. The limits are set from the factory, but when I put it into the bracket, I actually had it probably 180 degrees off. So it probably is long, and sure enough it is. So the green limit is going to be our upper limit. And this one, if I want to increase my limit or stop at a higher point, I want to go clockwise. And since I'm increasing the limit, I'm going to leave the switch on, and I'm just going to turn my limit clockwise. And it should just continually, gradually go up to where I want it to go here. And normally I want to have it stop at about the bottom of the bracket, give or take. That's pretty much where I want it to be. Okay? So we're good. Limits are set, shades installed. We no longer need the hot box. We'll unplug that. We'll set that aside for the next time or the next shade on the project. And now what we want to do is we want to get this plugged into the IZMC. And as far as the IZMC is concerned, we have a quick reference guide that's going to be very, very helpful, beneficial. Obviously you have the module to watch as well. But if by chance you don't have a phone working because you're in a remote location or something, make sure you have the quick reference guide instructions with you. It goes through fine-tuning the top and bottom limits. Now you would want to install the Control 4 driver. That Control 4 driver can be found on the Z-Plexus website, zplexus.com. And you need to go to the DCS, IZMC-DCS driver. And there will probably be a couple there to choose from depending on where you are with pre 2.9, post 2.9 variations such as that. But what we want to do first and foremost, we want to power this up. Reason for that is we want to go ahead and set this to a default memory. What I mean by that is we want to go ahead and, we want to get some power here first. Give me 1 second, let me power it up. Okay, now we've powered up the power supply back at the panel. I didn't want to have it powered up as I was doing this. I didn't want to have any wires touching each other and burning out the power supply. So now we're good because that red light is flashing, so we know we have power to the device. What I want to do is I want to press and hold that center stop or setup button. I'm going to press and hold it till that green light flashes and goes out, and then proceeds to flash again and then go out. Okay, and that tells me I've cleared the memory. So just in case that this happened to come from another prior job somehow, some way, just if there's any sort of memory on here, you just want to make sure it's erased. Especially if you have different modules that are moving around from job to job, things of that nature. Next thing that I want to do with this is I want to go ahead and I want to get it calibrated now that I have the motor limit set. So we can do one of two things. As far as identifying it, we can join it to the network now, or we can join it to the network after it's calibrated. If you want to do the calibration setting via the driver, join it now. And that would just be a simple press of the stop button. And that's going to require just a very simple 1+ seconds, 1 to 2 seconds on your stop button here. It will then start to flash, letting you know that it's trying to join the network. Okay, and there's specific instructions in here on what that means in terms of the colors of the lights. So now that we're going to do the calibration here locally and not via the driver, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plug the motor side in here to the IZMC. Okay, and then just simply get this into calibration mode. I'm going to press the stop button or the setup button for 4 to 6 seconds until the green LED stops flashing, and then I'm going to release it. Green LED is flashing, it stops, I'm releasing. Now what happens is the shade system, whoops, let's not do that. The shade system is actually going through a process of the interface learning the upper and lower limits of the motor system. Since the intelligence is in the IZMC, we want the IZMC to understand exactly where top and bottom is and everything in between. So if you want to do any sort of presets, again, our percentages are 0 to 100, so it's fairly finite as far as presets go. It's going to come back down again just for one last run. So it does a complete cycle top and bottom. Anything that's going to be daylight harvesting, if you want to do any sort of level adjustments automatically via the astronomical timer, anything of that nature, very important. Also any bidirectional feedback status, it's all going to be accurate now because we've gone through that calibration process. So last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and run this up. Now as far as the direction is concerned, you may have to change the direction if the direction's not correct. I pressed open, it's opening. If it's not correct and it's opposite, just adjust it, change it in the driver. Okay, you can make a motor direction swap in the driver. And that'll be in our module related to the driver instructions. Last thing I want to do is I want to mount the IZMC, mount the fascia, and we're done. So let me get this off my ladder here so I can stand on my ladder. One thing to pay attention to. There are sticky tabs on the IZMC, okay? So what you want to do is you want to just peel off the backing off of the sticky tabs. And there's good high quality 3M tape on here. Okay, and the nice thing about this allows you to install and remove the IZMC without any screws. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run this IZMC over behind the shade. Now it's designed so that that bulge sits above the roll. You want to have the IZMC positioned here so that you can reach those buttons if you need to, and make sure that that antenna, which is the bulge at the bottom of the IZMC, isn't, that there isn't anything blocking that antenna. Okay, that's the pop out here at the bottom is the antenna. So you want to make sure that there's nothing blocking that from underneath. Again, the hem bar is sitting here in front of it, that's okay. But that way it's concealed, okay, nice and cleanly behind the shade. So I'm going to get up here a little bit higher so I can press those tabs, get those nice and tight. I'm going to route my power wire and I'm going to plug it in. And I could have done that before I set it back here, but either way. Okay, and then what I'm doing is I'm just going to give this a good hard push on those tabs, get those tabs to suck up into the wall and stick. And at this point in time, I'm just going to route my wires nice and clean to the back. And if you guys have just some of those little tackies, you know, for your wires, make sure that you use those. I don't have one here, but do make sure that you just kind of tack your wire down along the back side here so it's nice and clean and not running into the shade system. Okay, so last thing we want to do is install the fascia. Very simple and easy. This has a hook on the top. What you want to do is you want to hook it on the front foot of your bracket. Just set it up there, okay, on both sides, hook it on both sides, and then make sure those tabs, there's a tab on the bottom of that fascia bracket, there's a tab on the bottom of this one. Make sure that the fascia cover goes over those tabs. Those tabs are designed to hold it in place, but they go above it. What you want to do is pull down a little bit, just give it a little bit of a hit, and what it's doing is there's an inner extrusion on the fascia here that pops it into place on that tab. The last thing we want to do is install our end caps, which go on the end of the bracket. So we'll do that next. Can't seem to locate mine, so I'll find it and I'll get it on there for you, okay? But we're good to go. All set. Thanks for watching.